Okay, everybody, we are back. This is 50 something love, the podcast, all things exciting and interesting and important to women over 50. I'm your host, Diane Moody, and I'm happy to welcome you back. For those who don't know, I am a dating coach for women over 50 specifically. I do have some guys that are brave enough, but it's usually me and the ladies. So I am very excited to say that I have a guest today. We haven't done many guests yet, but I've got a guest today. This is Annette Overton McGrath, who is a friend of mine, who lives in New Orleans, and who has just come out with the most beautiful cookbook ever. And so I'm super excited to welcome you to 50, I can't even say it, 50 something love, Annette. Welcome.
Thank you, Diane. So grateful that you're having me here today.
It's my pleasure. So tell us the name of the cookbook and a little bit about the artwork since we're audio here and where people can get them. Tell what it's about.
Absolutely. So the book is called Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch. Subtitle, A Globetrotter's Recipes for the Aspirational and the Peckish. So it is a very fun journey around the globe with this madcap, fabulous, glamorous creature known as Lady Arabella and her canine companion, Mademoiselle Gigi, official taster and cleanup artist. And so the illustrations of this were actually, I brag, created by my daughter, Elizabeth Bassett, who is a professional artist in New York. And they are just full of color and verve and zest and adventure. And I will add that pertinent to your audience, Lady Arabella gets around and enjoys it, not just travel, but she dates quite a bit. She's on the lookout for husband number 6. I don't know if she'll ever catch up with Zsa Zsa Gabor, but she has mad skills in that area as well as in cooking.
That's wonderful. So, how did this cookbook come about?
It actually was a phoenix moment in my life. I was almost literally in the ashes. The pandemic kind of broke my portion of the fitness industry, personal coaching in people's homes. Uh, no more going in people's
Mm,
homes.
I can
And
imagine.
people were rather slow to adapt to Zoom. So over time, that created a total financial meltdown for me. And as I was facing bankruptcy and multiple relocations, I turned where I often turn in times of trouble, creativity and pleasure. So I leaned into skills I built a lifetime on, writing and cooking, which, I did for family, friends, for pleasure, one of those obsessive immersions that I enjoy so much. And I just woke up one morning with the wild idea. I'm bored of breakfast. I'm actually pretty easily bored. And I want to do a different one every day for a year. And so that was the
That's a
genesis,
tall order.
just create and explore, take my mind out of, the problems which seemed intractable and put them in something that I could do that would be pleasurable and productive. And it just sort of grew from there.
Well, I can't wait to get my copy. I've ordered it and I should be getting it sometime in the next week or so. I'm very excited because I too am a cook. I love to cook. I love to create dishes. I love to follow recipes that are attractive to me and fun. And if they're healthy as well, that's even better, although they don't always have to be, let's be honest. But I really do enjoy that. That's kind of my art form. So, how did you get into cooking in the first place?
I got into cooking sort of in self-defense because my mother did not like cooking and it showed. She
Oh
was
my God, I have the same story.
she was dutiful, right? She was raised to be a dutiful mother, to cook the food every day. So as a young bride, she mastered 6 entrees, sort of, which she cooked every day for decades. And until the dawn of her savior, Hamburger Helper.
I could have written this. This is amazing. Yeah. My mother's from the Midwest. She was from Indiana, and she never liked cooking, and it showed.
Hmm.
And yes, none of us starved. There were 5 kids, and 3 of them boys who would eat anything. But some of those dishes, I wouldn't say they were delicious. They were more like, keeping you from starving.
Right.
To this day, I have a brother who will not go anywhere near baked chicken. And it's been a long time. So please carry on. But I can totally relate to having a mother who just wasn't the cook. And I started cooking Thanksgiving dinners with my dad at age 11,
Right.
just so we'd have something to eat. Carry on. Tell us
Yes,
more.
yes, yes. I'm actually, my stepfather was sort of a self-taught Southern cook, and he wasn't willing to starve on my mom's 6 entrees. So he would often pitch in with the types of food that he grew up on, which were mostly like, you know, I was blessed because he also liked to garden. So he had an abundance of fresh vegetables at all times. Now he threw them all in fat back or rendered bacon fat that sat in a container at room temperature at all times, but it was
Uh,
delicious. And he would fry fish that my brother caught. And every year, my stepdad Charlie, who's now resting in peace, bless his heart and soul, would make a huge batch of Brunswick stew. And he would do it in our backyard in a cauldron. And he would make so much at once, he had to stir it with a boat oar. And I
that's
wanted that
funny.
boat oar as my inheritance, since cooking means so much to me. And I told him that, later in life. And he's like, very practical man. But he's like, why? I already gave it away to somebody else who cooks Brunswick stew because I'm not making anymore. I'm like, but what about me, Daddy? I wanted to inherit the boat oar. Of course, he gave me crazy eyes, which I deserved. But yeah, so I got the inkling that food could be delicious, right? It could
Mm-hmm.
show love because, in addition to feeding himself, I think he was not a verbal type man. I don't think I heard him say 10 words in a row till he was over 65, and then the spout broke and they all came out. But prior to that, I think the way he showed love to both his wife and his family was through cooking this good food that meant so much to him.
Mm, what a great story.
Um,
So, tell people where they can get this amazing cookbook.
oh my gosh, it just came out on Amazon a couple of days ago. There is an ebook version for people who don't want more paper in their lives. There is a paperback and there is a hardback. So, Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch. And my nom de plume is A.O. McGrath. That's M as in Mary, C as in Charlie, G as in Golf, R as in Romeo, A as in Alpha, T as in Tom, H as in Hotel. And I always spell it because that TH at the end, people never hear it. Right. And I'll get like the letter F as in foxtrot, or sometimes the letter W as in whiskey. So always got to spell it out loud.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, especially since we're, audio here.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
why brunch? Why did you want to do brunch?
Well, I'm a lark. I love the early morning hours. And personally, I have my biggest appetite then. So selfishly in the beginning, or self-lovingly, I should say, in the beginning, I wanted more variety for myself. And I also am a certified nutritionist through my fitness coaching business. And I had seen how hard it was to get people to sort of like hit their basic intake on fruits and vegetables. And they often would try to backload it toward the end of the day for their supper. And frankly, you're not going to eat 5 to 7 servings of vegetables in one meal. So, also exploring ways to bring a wider variety of fruit and veg into the morning than like the classic American eggs, toast, bacon, or takeout drive-through sandwich was something I really wanted to do for other people. And I'm greedy for fruit and vegetables, given the garden that I grew up with, but I understand a lot of people need a smoother runway into incorporating more. So that was one reason I did breakfast. And it just, I felt people needed to explore, right? Exploration and
Mm,
creativity is a
mhm,
really big part of how I love and enjoy life. And so it seemed like, okay, here's something maybe you haven't thought of. What if you played with this? What if you just gave this a chance? And you'll notice that the book is not Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Breakfast.
mm,
I got
mhm,
feedback from my readers and for people who followed my journey on Facebook. And a lot of them were like, I'm not that hungry early in the morning, or I don't have
mhm,
time to cook that early in the morning.
mhm.
So I was like, well, all of these foods are adaptable for people who want to wait for the weekend, want to save it for a special occasion, or truly are more night owls and they don't want food at 5 a.m. like I do. So, like, I jump out of the bed, is like, feed me, like, right? Like Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors, you've got to feed me now. But not everybody's like that. So it became Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch. And because I was also sneakily trying to put in foods that a lot of people don't think of as part of breakfast in the US, like noodle dishes or rice porridge, sort of an end run around that. Well, maybe you can't imagine it for your breakfast, but possibly you'd be willing to explore it for your brunch. And maybe that's a itty bit sneaky, but I am a mother of three. So I understand sometimes you have to represent your ideas in a more palatable format. So it became brunch.
I love that. I really like the idea. Of course, I knew you were doing this over the last year and would see the occasional recipe, and I have several recipes that you sent to me. And I really love international cuisine. If every year for Christmas, my husband and I pick a different country to kind of celebrate. And so that's how I got to know rice porridge was because we did Scandinavia last year.
Ah,
So we've done a French Christmas, we've done a British Christmas, all those different countries, Italian, American Italian. And so I just love playing with Italian, not just Italian, international cuisine. If I had my druthers, I'd just go international and eat what they're fixing me. But since I'm not always there,
right.
at least I'll fix it at home. That makes me feel just a little bit closer to Italy.
Yes, I love that. That's one of the ways I really identify with you because I'm a gal who loves a theme. And exploring other countries. Like my poor kids, when they were growing up, I'd make them do mom camp in the summer. So I'd always sneak in things like, this week, the country is France, and we're going to make French food and learn French words and sing French songs and look at French artists in the museum. So it's kind of the way my mind works anyway, is very thematically, and I have a lot of curiosity about the world. And, who knows, maybe that whole pandemic shutdown made me even more hungry to explore the rest of the world, even if I couldn't physically like during pandemic, get on a plane and go somewhere, and being broke after pandemic, pay for a plane ticket to go somewhere. You can have
Mhm.
the adventure in your own kitchen. And I really think, it builds a connection across countries, Now maybe it's all subliminal and subconscious, but when you eat as other people eat, when you harvest as they do, when you celebrate, you explore their celebrations, I think it builds empathy and it builds
Mhm.
bridges. And I really like the idea of that too. And I found another kind of concept I didn't even realize at the time, Diane, that crept into Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch was a lot of the recipes turn out to be grandma food.
Grandma food. Now
Grandma
explain
food,
that.
how the
Explain it.
grandmas of the world show their love to their families with these home cooked traditional foods that are really pretty simple in technique and not hugely challenging in terms of gathering ingredients, but they are the special ingredient is love, right?
Mhm.
Like congee in China, dal, congee being rice porridge in China, dal being a lentil soup or stew in India, clafouti, which is a type of French flan, super simple. So there were several of these that I ended up incorporating, and it just occurred to me that part of that is probably because I lost my own mother, you know, toward the tail end of pandemic. And although she wasn't a cook herself, she did embody that grandma love that
Yeah.
really, I think, infuses a life with pleasure and meaning. And to her credit, she loved good food. She just didn't have like the patience or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
interest in making it. And she had also her full-time job. She worked in a factory and was raising 5 children. So production line made sense. But, back to, I think you and I said this just earlier today, food is my love language.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it it really expresses, acts of labor and what is it called? Acts of labor, gifts of labor, acts of service in the love language
Mhm.
book. It's an act of service. You're actually doing work in order to please and assist others. And also, it's a gift, right? If you do it well, you're not expecting anything back. Like, I made you this dinner, therefore, you need to take out this trash for me. Although, if you want to do the dishes, right, that's cool. Um,
My husband always does that.
oh,
Yay.
good man.
Because I hate that part. Yeah. No, that's really wonderful. I consider cooking my art.
Yes.
Um, my mother was a pianist and a magical pianist with perfect pitch. I didn't have that skill at all. I
Mm,
can't paint like some of my siblings. Um, I can write okay. I'm a decent writer, but beyond that, I don't sing. I just don't have the artist gifts, except when it comes to food. And so
yes.
when I put a lot of effort into a meal, any meal, whether it's Thanksgiving or, weekend brunch, whatever, I consider that kind of my offering of my art. So
That's lovely.
yeah,
That's
it's
fantastic.
the best I got, man.
You know what? It makes you and people around you happy. It spreads so much pleasure. You're actually nourishing yourself and others. I mean, I think it's one of the greatest gifts that there is. And I'm a sensualist. Anything that engages my five senses is going to light my fire. And so the beauty of food, the visual, plating, the colors, the feel, the texture of it while I'm cooking it, while I'm handling the ingredients, and while I'm eating it, the aromas, the scents, the combinations and layers of aromas, the music of it sizzling in the pan. Hopefully never the smell of it burning. That happens
That
sometimes.
happens. It
It
happens.
happens. And so One of the reasons it's called elegant brunch is that it's not just get food on the table, right? Get
Mm-hmm. A real
it
celebration.
produced with style, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
just for you having a special meal on a weekend, or you're throwing a baby shower, a bridal breakfast, a special birthday, a Valentine's seduction, a proposal dinner. You want to put that extra touch on it that says, I want to please you. Look at
Ooh.
this, smell
Ooh.
this, taste this. This is my offering. And so Lady Arabella is very much a sensualist too. And she gives tips on like how to make it special. What are some dishes that could go into this symphony of your brunch? And also suggestions on, you know, what kind of music vibes with this. I'm also all about music and I
The
know just
playlist. Yeah.
layer the pleasure of this brunch and let people know they have been somewhere. Not only have they been someone that are special, they are someone special to you.
Right. Single ladies listening right now, please make note of this. This is a great idea for when you're in a relationship with someone. I don't recommend it in the first month or so, but after that, um, I I coincidentally posted a picture on Facebook today of the first meal I made my now husband. We'd only been going out a couple of months. And so the first meal I made him, and after he finished, he goes, I would have spent $100 at any restaurant for that. And
Oh, yeah.
I knew he was toast. He was
That's
gone at that
amazing.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could never date a man who doesn't appreciate food. Just
Yeah, that
no.
would get old.
Ugh.
So I know you're going to have to go because you've got a fitness client. So a couple of questions.
Yes.
Um, how are you doing since the pandemic? Are things beginning to look up a little bit for you?
Well, since they were about as far down as I ever want to go in June, um, definitely looking up. I do have, multiple jobs right now. I have a full-time call center job, so I have health insurance, and I do feel like I am making a difference in people's lives, really helping them understand important issues and helping them take care of their health in that way. I am still doing fitness, yoga, and nutrition coaching via Zoom through AOM Fitness and Yoga. I have a website for that as well. And, launch the cookbook. And ideally, what I would like to do is to be able to focus on, creating this Lady Arabella, which it's a series, it's going to be a series.
Mm-hmm.
I've already started on the second one. She's so much fun to be with. She's, if you remember Auntie Mame or even
Mm-hmm.
the children's book character Eloise, just this irrepressible, over the top, live life full throttle person. So I want to spend as much time as I can with her because it makes me happy to live in that zone. So yeah, things have looked up and I cannot express enough gratitude for the friends and even acquaintances who stepped up when I reached out for help. I was raised Irish Catholic and like, don't ask for help was like a foundational principle. Don't tell people when you're vulnerable. Don't express when you feel like you've hit a failure point. And it's it's destructive to stay in that place because it's very hard to rise up out of deep difficulties alone. So when I was in trouble, so many people, including you, reached out, supported me. This cookbook began actually as an email subscription series. And people
Mm-hmm.
knew that I needed financial help. They rushed in, they subscribed, they gave me the type of great feedback that allowed the book to be possible. Because at that point, I was still just churning out recipes, like, got to make these recipes every day. But I
Mm-hmm.
had, because of their love, their support, and their willingness to step up, I was motivated to create for them.
Mm.
I kept going through some of the darkest hours because I've got to get these recipes out. I promised these people I would create this for them. So it was, my way of reflecting love back to them was to stick to the commitment, keep it going, keep the recipes flowing. And I would never want to go through that difficult financial period again. But because the obstacle did not stop me, there was something even better on the other side.
Well, I hope you never have to go through that again either. And I'm so excited to get my book. Now, tell us one more time where you can get the book, and tell us one more time your website so they know if they want somebody to help them with fitness and nutrition where they'd reach you.
Absolutely. So the book is Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch. The author is A.O. McGrath with a Tango Hotel on the end of McGrath. But I
Uh-huh.
think if you put in Lady Arabella's Guide to Elegant Brunch, you'll probably find it. It's on Amazon. There is an ebook version. Now, Kindle and ebooks are not super friendly to cookbooks, so there's some weird little white spaces in there that nothing could get rid of, but it's still very scrollable, still very usable. And if you don't want more paper in your life, it's a great option. There's also a paperback, and there is also a hardcover edition, which is beautiful, colorful, and glossy. Gorgeous illustrations, fun character to spend time with. She's super sassy. And I do hope that your listeners will check it out. And my website for fitness, yoga, and nutrition is AOM Alpha Oscar Mary Fitness and Yoga. And I have free consultations if people just want to chat about their fitness. If they're curious about yoga or returning to it, never explored it, happy to answer any questions. And I do nutrition coaching. For most people, it tends toward healthy weight loss. I give due warning, it's all about mindset. I'm not going to hand anybody a list of food to eat and set up an artificial construct that will fail them in the long run. What my weight loss and nutrition coaching is all about is love yourself, nourish yourself, understand what obstacles are in your way, and let's find ways to work around them, create new habits, something you can own, something you can live with in the long term, because it's all about being the healthiest you.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I have a couple of last minute quick questions because I know you got to go, but we
Yes.
do these for all the guests. Where is your favorite place to travel?
Oh my God. Well, one of my favorite places to travel, I now live in New Orleans. I got so lucky.
Ooh,
Oh gosh, where's my favorite? Where's my favorite? I love Paris. I've been there a few times. I love London. Um, I'm an extremely pale person, so although I appreciate beaches, most of them are wasted on me. Yeah, and I do love hiking, so I've been to a lot of lovely national parks in the US. My only caveat for outdoorsy vacations is there better be a luxury bed and a really
oh,
good
yeah.
chef at the other end. I do not sleep on the ground. That is an absolute must for
And a
any travel agenda.
nice hot
My,
tub.
yeah, my wish list is longer than my very long arms and tends to center around places where I want to go to study dance because I'm also a ballroom dancer. So I'd love to go to Buenos Aires. That's near the top of the list. Morocco for belly dancing. So lots of desires around travel.
Awesome. So, what's your favorite curse word? Quickly.
Depends on the situation. One I'm not going to say on audio.
Okay, then I'll keep moving.
Keep moving. They're
Your
not audio friendly.
well, I say them all the time, but who's your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush. I would have to say I'm fickle, but today I saw a great trailer with Hugh Jackman in him, so I'm going to go with him today.
That's not a bad choice. I like that one. What's your favorite food? One dish. You had one
Ah!
dish, your
Okay.
favorite last meal.
Um, my comfort food right now is udon noodles in a ginger garlic broth with kale, steamed kale, and a poached egg. If I had that, I could die happy. That's in my cookbook.
Awesome. I'll look forward to it. So I just want to tell the audience we got to get off here. But if you enjoyed yourself today, would you please tell a friend about this podcast? Link it, give me a like or a comment. You can always go to info at Diane Brandon Moody, or if you want to leave a message. So my sign off is go have some champagne today for no reason at all. And thank you very much for being with us. Bye.